teach at Harvard, and I've been doing this for about 17 years now, not teaching at Harvard, but I started as a freelance web designer and always have had a side of teaching, but about 5 years ago I had a realization that I could focus just on teaching, which is what I love, and then I could like freelance a little bit on the side. So that's what I've been doing these last 5 years. And I've been in this field long enough to know now that we have a very interesting cycle, just like everything else. You know how everything is old is new again? Remember back in the 80s, like Boy George was a really big deal and all that? Like the 80s are coming around again, the 90s are coming around again. We have these same cycles in website design and development. So when I got into the field, there was lots and lots of talk about what makes a successful website. And then all of this technology happened, and all we've done is talk about technology for a long time. And our last speaker talked about pixel pushers versus problem solvers. And I see that same trend in higher education, where we have lots of people who are graduating who are pixel pushers and really good at it, but they're not problem solvers. So at Harvard, what I try to teach is that concept of problem solving, okay? And critical thinking skills, which we desperately need in this world. We desperately need more critical thinking skills. And so talking about how to plan successful websites and applications is a great way to start this. So you may not have expected a Harvard lecture today, but you're getting one. So let's start. What makes a successful website or application? I open the floor. Do we have answers? What makes a successful website or application? Speak up. Users, money. It solves a problem. Good UX. That's it? Oh, that's easy. No other answers? The design, which should be good? Yeah? Okay. What else? It makes sense if it's needed. Okay. Speed, it should be fast. Yeah. I'm sorry, the stability? Oh, stability. Yeah, stability. That's a good one. We don't want it down. Okay, so anybody ever seen this website before? Go ahead and pull out your computers, your mobile devices, your tablets. You'll have best results if you do this on a desktop-ish machine. If you have a phone, it'll look like this. Okay, it looks like that. All right, but take a look at that website. And so it's a slightly different experience. Is this a successful website? Or even better yet, is this a good website? How many say it's a good website? Okay, maybe 5 or 10 of you. How many say this is a terrible website? What the heck is she thinking? Okay, that's pretty much everybody else. All right, so is it a successful website? What? Okay. Some of you are saying yes. Why is it a successful website? Other than I'm a Harvard professor and obviously I'm asking a trick question. It's controversial. It draws attention. It's unique. It is unique. The 90s called. They want their website back. Anything else? If you have the desktop version of this, make sure you view the source. The source is awesome. The commenting is amazing. Okay, so we're sort of divided a little bit as to whether this is a successful website. So let's talk about some other options here first and some more information. We'll go a little bit further into this. One of the most important things as you decide to design your next website or your next application is to begin with the end in mind, which is what Stephen Covey talked about in his book from the 80s. Begin with the end in mind. What kind of experience do you want people to have? How do you want them to feel using your website? What do you want them to get out of it? Start there at the very end of the process and then work your way back to what it is you actually need to put that website together. That is the best way to start designing your website. You don't sit down in front of Sublime Text or whatever tool of choice you have. Just like when you design something, you don't sit down in front of Photoshop and start clicking around, okay? There's a whole process that goes to this. So one of the important things to think about is how users will consider What kind of product are they going to use? She'll agree with me. There's a lot of websites out there. There's a lot of applications out there. They do a whole lot of stuff. I think there's like thousands of different flashlight applications out there for your phone. So there's lots of applications that do whatever it is that you have in mind. So let's think about how these users are going to consider these products. First of all, let's talk about safety. Is it safe? Is my identity going to be stolen? So what are some ways that we can convey that this is a safe website? Anybody? Ways we can consider this is a safe website. SSL? That's it? Okay. Pardon? Yes, it should convey some kind of trustworthiness and so forth. And so there are ways that we do this. Somebody did mention SSL, okay? You probably shouldn't have any of these pop-ups. Y'all remember these pop-ups? Yeah. You might have some rules about your passwords. They're way too long. We can talk about this in conflict with user experience. So then the next part is utility. Is this going to get the job done, and do I want it or do I need it? Is this going to get the job done, do I want it or I need it? What kind of websites can you think about that are all about the utility? You go there because you got to do something. Google Docs? Okay, that's interesting. Google Docs? Why do you go there? You go there just because you have to get something done. Anybody? Government sites. Oh, what a classic example. No one wants to go to the government sites. No one, okay? What else? Which one? Wolfram Alpha. Okay. I'm not familiar with that one, but great. Pardon? Wikipedia. Oh, that's interesting. Do we go to Wikipedia because we want to get something done or because we get lost? Does anybody like me, like you look up something on Wikipedia and then you go, oh, that, and then like 30 minutes later you're on a completely unrelated topic? So it sort of depends. What came to mind for me was online banking. Anybody love spending time on their bank's website? Oh, one person. One person loves paying bills. Awesome. You're hired. You can come pay my bills. But online banking, not really all that exciting, but it is something that we have to get done. Okay. Next thing we need to think about is effectiveness. Does it actually work well? Can you think about a site that is effective? Anybody have an example of an effective website? Google? Google Maps. Oh, that is a very effective website. I use it all the time. Google itself, of course, the search. I picked a shopping cart. Pretty well-established technology. There's not a whole lot of innovation going on with shopping carts 20 years after they were invented. 20 years, 25 years? We've pretty much straightened it out. Shopping carts are an example of this. Okay, then efficiency. Can I learn something quickly? Does it make things faster or easier? This would be a great reason to adopt a piece of technology. It makes my life easier. It makes me faster at something. Can anybody think of an example of this? Tinder. That's it. See you later. Tinder, sure. Online dating does definitely go faster than the old ways. Yeah. What else? Google Keep. Google Keep. Which one? Google Flights. Okay, Google Flights. What else? Car sharing. Car sharing. In the US, we have one called Zipcar that does that. Car sharing. What else? Wikipedia again? Could be. Yeah, it's a really quick way to learn about something. The one I picked was Slack. I think Slack is terrible, and it really hasn't enhanced my life, but I know a lot of people who are younger than me thinks that this is easier than email. I don't know. Not me personally, but a lot of people have said this, that they like Slack for that reason. Okay? And then finally, satisfaction. Satisfaction. Will it annoy me? Does it understand my work? Can we think of an example of something that doesn't annoy you? Or something that might understand your work? Slack, okay. Which one? Slackbook, okay, Slackbook. What else? Okay, the one I picked was Google Docs. Okay, it doesn't annoy me. It pretty much does what I want it to do, which is what, 20% of what Word does, 20% of Excel does. Let's face it, most of what Microsoft Office does I don't need, I don't use. And this has already got the sharing capacity built into it. So this has been great for me. I use this with a lot of people. So Google Docs has done this for me. And then last of all, I think I have 2 5s. That's interesting. Self-fulfillment. Self-fulfillment. Okay? Is it fun? Does it make me feel or look good? And does it empower me? What's a great example of this? Instagram. Twitter. Facebook. Yeah? And yeah, you win, because I said Twitter too. Okay? So Twitter. And so lots and lots of social media. This is why social media has become so popular. In what, like 10 years it's been out? 10 years it's been a thing? And it's completely taken over the internet and taken over our lives. It's because it makes us feel good. It makes us look good. All right? And so this is one of the real keys to building a successful website or a successful application. I am an introvert. I tend to be more on the logical side. I like to debate, like points of interest and so forth. I do not like to talk about feelings. Let's not discuss feelings. But I have discovered in all my years that feelings actually wind up being pretty important when it comes to working in this kind of stuff. That it is important to think about how your users are going to feel. Because ultimately, nobody wants to feel frustrated. No one wants to feel annoyed by your website. So how do we think about all of the different elements of what we do as developers to keep people from feeling frustrated, to make them feel happy, to make them feel empowered? How do we make the technology and the interface actually disappear? Okay? That's the important part. So let's go back to Ling again. Given in mind what I've just said to you, anybody want to reflect on any of these points, like safety? Anybody feel safe looking at Ling's site? No? Anybody know what Ling does? Something with cars. It's kind of hard to find, honestly, but right here, it's car leasing. All right? she does car leasing. And so that's very hard to find. She has made over $106 million with this website. All right? She is one of the #1 leasing people in the United Kingdom. She is getting tons of attention for this website. Now, what she says about this website is, a website should reflect the personality of the owner. Okay? How many of you want to go have a beer with Ling in the worst way? I know I do, okay? She looks like a really interesting person. A little bit of background about her. She's from China. She went to Finland to work on a master's degree. She found Finnish entirely too difficult to understand, so she moved to the UK where they had an easier language to speak. And somehow she got into leasing cars. She has put all kinds of stuff on this website. You can spend literally hours here and not find it all. And I think this is an excellent website. All right, now, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. You may look at this website and think, oh, this is just a scam, and go somewhere else, right? Absolutely. And you may also, if you were a business person, if you were looking to lease cars for your business fleet, would you do business with Ling? Oh, if she's cheap. Okay, you have standards, I see. Okay. So if she's cheap, we'll do business with her. But truthfully, she's really looking for who? Who would be the kind of person who would rent from Ling? A crazy person? Potentially. What else? A blind user. Yes? I'm sorry, there was a better answer back there. Internet users, okay. people who like to watch the cats, and it's a shame that I don't have this animated. There's little dogs and things that pop up here, and chickens that walk across the screen and stuff. It's fun. Okay, we could get a little bit more tangible. We're here in Poland. Would we rent a car from Ling in Poland? No? She's in the UK. You want to rent a car. People that have no other options but to rent from Ling? Okay. Chinese people living in the UK? Perhaps, yeah. I think it's unlikely that people in Poland are going to rent from Ling because it's too far. You going to go to the UK to rent a car? I doubt it. All right? So there are things that we can derive about her users. Okay, here's a website. Again, pull this URL up on your phone. And again, it's a shame that I can't show this to you as a real website. So can anybody derive what this website is about? It's a surgery website. You know, our crazy healthcare in the US, this is advertising as a surgeon. You can go have surgery there for some reason. All right, so is this a good site or a bad site? How many people say it's a good site? No hands? No one thinks it's a good site. How many say it's a bad site? Okay, is that because it's a Harvard professor asking a trick question, right? No, seriously, if you look at it, it looks like a reasonable website, doesn't it? No, you got doctors, they look like doctors, and we've got like a contact request, and you know, they're doing surgery over here. It looks like a surgery site, right? But let me tell you a little bit about this site. Whoops. Gotta remember which button I'm pointing here. All right, up here in the corner, this is an animated logo. It flips around to a whole bunch of different things. This is a movie. The movie is about 13 minutes long. The Star-Spangled Banner, which is the national anthem of the United States, plays in the background while he talks about surgery and his facility and so forth. I think at one point it switches to the Battle Hymn of the Republic. So he's very patriotic. If you click any of these links here, they will tell you that the pages are under construction. Okay? So how many of you are going to trust this guy to do surgery on you? Anybody? Yeah, so it's possible to have a website that actually looks pretty good and can inspire absolutely no trust at all. So keep that in mind as you look around the web, and keep that in mind as you design things. Ultimately, in the end, this all is going to boil down to goals. Okay? Goals are very, very important. It's important to set these goals up front before you start designing your website. And I have a story about goals. And so this is the story. This is a house. So when I graduated from grad school in 2001, it was August. My very first client meeting was on September 10th, 2001. I was in Vermont. I was about 4 hours away from New York City. And I had my very, very first client meeting ever. And this was the client. Of course, 2001, it was a radical idea to put real estate on the internet. So we were going to build a website to sell this house that he had built. So this is the kitchen. There are 11 skylights on that. This is the pool that's on a nice deck here. Down over this way, there's a bocce ball court. This room right here, that balcony, has got a bed that will slide out on rails so you can sleep under the stars. Okay, down here there's a gym and an in-law apartment, 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. And it's in southern Vermont. Okay, so this is where I need my okay, so this is in southern Vermont. Southern Vermont at that point in time had a income of about $35,000 a year, median income, and this house was going to sell for $1.875 million. Okay? So, the overall goal of this website that I was going to build was what? Sell the house. All right. So this is the very first goal that you should come up with. Anything that you're going to do for your website, for your application, what is the big overall goal, or maybe 2 or 3 additional goals? That's it, no more than that. What is the big goal that you're trying to solve? So the big goal is to sell the house. That was easy. Okay, so the next thing you want to think about is, you want to think about your users. What do users want to know? when they're going to buy a house? Features of the house, location of the house, price of the house, size of the house, lots and lots of pictures, location, yeah? So there's lots of things that they want to know. Now, I just told you that this house was in southern Vermont, which may not be familiar to you. Actually, I'm sorry, I don't have my notes here, so I can't remember what order I've put things in. Who are the users that are going to come to this site? Tell me about the users. Rich people. What do they do for a living? Home business? The old business? Oh, they own their own business. They own their own business. They're very successful entrepreneurs. Okay? Who else? Politicians? One would hope that our politicians aren't making that much money in the U.S., but I suppose most of them do. Yes? Rappers? Sure, rappers. That's it. That's a new answer on me. Cool. What else? Celebrities? Adventures and outdoors kind of stuff. Vermont is a small rural state in the upper left corner of New England. It has lots of snow. The snow stays around for a long time. It has hiking, that kind of thing. So people that like that kind of stuff. So here's some stuff. They must make enough money. They probably live in the city. They probably don't live in rural Vermont where they make $35,000 a year. They might be looking for a corporate retreat. It's buy a retreat for the company. They might have a large family because there's 6 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. Or they might be a smaller family who wants to entertain. They always want to have people in town. So that's what we know about them. And so this was the coolest thing ever. If you haven't ever seen this, look at freemaptools.com. So this is where the house is located, right there. And I was able to, with this website, I was able to say, draw me a radius of 4 hours within that location, which was pretty cool. And so if we zoom in on that so you can see it a little bit better, what do we got going on here? So within, that's where the house is right there. And within that area, we have the big cities you probably know of, Boston and New York and Montreal in Canada. But we also have some fairly good-sized U.S. cities like Syracuse, Albany, Hartford, New Haven, and Providence that are, maybe a million-ish people. These are close. Obviously, New York is closer to 10 million. So, all right. So, given this information, this is probably where our target audience is coming from, all around here, nowhere near the house. So, what does the website need to convince these people to do? Is anyone going to look at the website and buy the house? They want to come to the house and see it, don't they? Even Bill Gates isn't going to buy this house sight unseen, right? They must come, let's come to the house, let's see the house. So, given that, that's really the question that the user goal needs to answer. What kind of information can we provide to convince people to come see the house? Driving instructions, pictures, location. Yes, right. All of these various points, very, very important things to know about. So this is actually how we started to think about the website. So we started to consider like all of the things we'd have to put on the site to convince people to come up for a visit. One of the things we wanted to do, as you saw that picture, it looked like it was from the air, and this was well before the days of drones. So we needed to get a helicopter to come out and take pictures of this house. And of course, New England is famous for its fall colors. The foliage, the trees change colors, and it's quite beautiful. So as I said, it was September 10th. I had a follow-up appointment on September 12th, and the entire world had changed by that point. It took 3 weeks for the helicopters to start flying again for us to get those pictures after that particular day. So it was a little bit challenging, but we managed to make it work. Okay, so now we have goals for our organization as a whole. We have goals for our users. Then the last one is, what are our website goals? Okay, how do we know that this website winds up being successful? So we've got to convince the users to come visit the house. So how do we measure that? Pardon? Number of calls. That's a great metric. And it has nothing to do with Google Analytics. Okay? How many phone calls do we get about this house? What's another metric? Number of visits. So if we get 100 phone calls and 10 visits, that tells us something, right? We'd ideally like to have maybe 50 phone calls and maybe 30, 40 visits, right? Because that tells us that people are still interested and have enough, there's enough there to convince them to come visit. All right, so that is a very important metric also. We still haven't built the website, but now we know how to measure whether it's successful. We're laying out those metrics now from the beginning. How much time do I have left? You guys know? Pardon? 2 minutes? For 3 minutes, awesome, okay. So then the follow-up question to that is this. So how does this image carousel going to enhance the user experience? All right, how is that going to contribute to the safety, utility, effectiveness, efficiency, or satisfaction of the website? And how is it going to help meet those organizational user or website goals? So this is how we don't start talking about image carousels right from the beginning. We don't have the client call us and say, oh, you want a 5-page website, would you like a carousel with that? That'll be $500. We don't have that conversation. We talk about this information first, and then if it seems like an image carousel is something that would actually enhance the website, then we're going to add it. This is also super useful for pushing back against clients with unreasonable requests. You know those clients? The oh, just one more thing clients? Yeah, this is how you push back against them. Because if you talk about these concepts up front, as you start to design the website, when they come back to you and say, oh yeah, we want an image carousel too, then you can say, oh, okay, so how is that fitting into this overall picture? So you lead them through the thinking, and then you don't have to just say, oh, you want an image carousel too. Oh, now I have to research image carousels, or I have to write an image carousel, or whatever. Image carousel is pretty easy. That's defined technology. But you know how the clients ask for things that they don't have budgets for? This is a great way to talk them out of that. Okay, so this is my contact information. This is just a taste of what I teach at Harvard. This is actually also just a taste of the workshop that I am teaching tomorrow from 11 to 6. This is where we start. We start with these overall arching concepts, and then we go through a whole bunch of other stuff, including talking about personas and branding and user testing and all kinds of other things that we can do before we ever write a line of code. If you have an interest in this and you want to do more with it, please come to my workshop tomorrow. It will be very hands-on, and I'd love to see you there. So thank you very much.